Hey, Stepan, good morning and good evening to you.
Hey, Ray, how you doing?
Doing pretty well. I'm glad it's Friday. I think you are as well too.
Absolutely. I can't wait for the weekend.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Again, I said earlier this week, I appreciate you stepping up and presenting something this week last minute. I also think it's going to be a really cool topic. I've heard it mentioned before, reportee and everything. I've peeked at the website a bit, but from even the brief amount that you show me and everything else, it's kind of as both a learning and aid platform for people in the Power BI community. I'm really excited to actually get like a more of a deep dive demo into its capabilities and everything today. So from my perspective, it's going to be a very exciting presentation as well for even for me.
I'm super happy to be there, and I'm super happy that I can share with you the reporting because it's something that we've been working on for quite a long time. And to be honest, we've been testing it since a month ago for a half year before
Hmm.
before we completely find the trust to bring this out. And uh, I'm super excited to present it here because I really want to hear the feedback and
Hmm.
if you like it or not. And who knows, maybe you will be using reporting also.
Yeah, I mean I think you hit on two things that are very crucial for product development. One, a lot of internal testing, but I do think that the best version, especially with software of any product, usually comes about I'd say 6 to 12 months after its release, when all of that feedback comes back from the community. I know like Tabular Editor and a lot of the even DAX Studio, like there's been features that have been sprinkled in here or there, just as like oh I never would have thought of putting that in myself, but a couple dozen people are all saying this would actually be a great feature to add or to improve upon. So I like how products can evolve in that way through the community contributions in a sense.
Exactly, and especially for that, I'm very interested about the feedback on a reporting because, as I mentioned, we've been testing it with customers, but in this moment, we are here as a community, and I really want to hear what you would think.
Perfect. For the people tuning in, I know we've talked about reportee, which is as the title implies, a kind of a learning platform for Power BI. But can you give a little background about yourself for the people tuning in?
Okay, once again, I'm Štěpán Rešl. Nice to meet you, everyone. And I'm from Czech Republic, so I'm not a native English speaker. Sorry for that. uh, I'm from I'm co-founder of company DataBrothers, where I'm working as a lead technical consultant, and I'm also the data platform Microsoft Most Valuable Professional, same as right here, but uh, not I'm not MVP for such a long time because I'm in a program just for 2 years now.
It's nice. I'm hoping next year we get a chance to finally actually meet in person at an in-person MVP summit. Like I'm sure we're both crossing our fingers that that will happen.
I hope so.
Mhm.
Okay, maybe we can
Yeah,
jump right
let's
into the topic.
let's do it. All right, here we are.
Okay, let's meet the report. But if I want to let you to understand what reportee is and why we build it, I have to share with you a little story, how it all begins. If you're not into the stories, I'm so sorry, but I can do it without it. I have just very brief agenda, but it's not about agenda at all. Uh, on the beginning, we was preparing the reports for customers from very or for very different companies with different backgrounds, etc. But mostly we received the feedback from the users and especially from the end users, the managers, etc., that they accidentally clicked on legend in a chart and something happened. They really don't know what happened because some charts filtered, some highlight, and some of them look exactly same as before when didn't click. So they was completely lost. What's happening around? They start calling us. Hey, did we break the report? We really don't know what happened. Have the Power BI same functions as Excel, so we can double click on a pivot table and it will drill us down into the data under it. Okay. Let's stop here for a moment. This is not an Excel. It's a Power BI. It's completely different platform. We know that the Power BI slightly come up from the Excel, yeah, but you have to try. You have to start to think differently. But especially here in the Czech Republic, it's very hard to learn someone who has been working with Excel for years, a new technology. So we was trying to find out how to bring this much more closer to them. Even the reports that I think we're providing are very easy to read. Still, you have to some kind of some cooperation with the reports if you want to find your answers. But they didn't want to. After they saw the Power BI and how dynamic it can be, they want to go back for a paper report because it will stay still. Even if they click with a pen on a chart, nothing would happen. And that brings us an idea if is everything okay with them. So we received this, let's say, a negative feedback from the managers that they don't know how to use a report. Okay, so we went to learn and development department of one of this company with this issue, and they approved us that their managers were complaining that the reports are dynamic. Wait, so someone was complaining that reports are dynamical? That everything is moving to the new age and everything is easier. But okay, so maybe there's some kind of limitation with how people can adapt. So maybe we can help them. But before we tried to do something about, we went to local developers from their own company. They approved the same issue. They said to us that they tried a Tableau, Click, Power BI before, and every time they had to went back to reporting services or printing the report because end user wasn't able to adapt. So this was the initial impulse. So, okay, let's educate the end user because we're in a 21st century. So we will educate them how to use the reports. There has to be some way how to do it. So we try to search for an options. We spend a lot of time on finding some videos, external applications that could these stubborn end users use. Video is absolutely incredible. It's great to see how someone is doing. You can replicate it, but it's missing the hands-on option. You have to see what someone is doing and then replicate it. External application is slightly the same. It's saying you what you should do in other application. So we've been missing the point, because we want for a user to be able to learn directly inside the Power BI. So we try to think if we could not find anything that could teach users directly inside the Power BI service, we will have to develop it. We will have to try to bring this app alive. Maybe there is some obstacle, because if there isn't, why no one ever built it before? And if someone built it before, we weren't able to find it. So we tried to build it on our own, but we made some decisions about the solution requirements that it has to match. First of all, was the solution has to be upgradable, because Power BI is absolutely dynamical in upgrades. It's still developing. The evolution of Power BI is incredible. How we knew Power BI 3 years ago is something completely different from how we knew Power BI now, and even last month or a month before. It's still developing, so we have to be able to easily upgrade this app and provide user the latest content as quick as possible. Then it has to be multilingual, because most of the companies are not just focusing on one market. So if we want to get this app for another users or for a greater companies, it has to be multilingual. I had one very strong requirement on this solution, and it was that it has to be only from Microsoft components. Why? Because in Microsoft stack is everything what I think that we need. So why to use something else? And especially when we are working with Microsoft-oriented companies, why to bring them something that they didn't have in their house? If we can build it with something they're familiar with, then it would be easier to adapt it into the local IT. And especially thanks to that, the data has to be under customer security policies, because everyone has completely different policies up on their data and how they manage it, monitorize, etc. So it has to be able to reach all these points, and it has to be financially advantageous, because if it would be pricey, no one would ever want it. So we come up with the first architecture design, and it was pretty simple. Let's say that we will have very easy Power BI app with one report, one data set, and row-level security inside. Okay, but it wouldn't be editable, because if we would just prepare an app and upload it, how we will upgrade the data under it if something will come up new? So let's bring the SQL Server inside, because we can, by data factories and other tools, bring new data into the SQL Server that is already in these companies. It would be absolutely easy and absolutely incredible if they could use their own servers to host our tables that we need for whole the application very easily in their own Azure, and we can just simply fill it with a new data. So when something new will come up into the Power BI, we can just push the new content inside the server. And thanks to the server, we can store there many language mutations and simply change it. By that, we try to prepare first version, or not just a version, but just a quick proof of concept if we can easily change the languages. So yeah, okay, let's prepare very easy SQL server with a very easy SQL server that will be storing all the textations around, and by easy parameter that will be shared by whole pages, we can change the translations. So user can easily change the language that he wants to. Once we decide to go by this direction, we have to find out our mascot. The mascot of the application is very easy yellow robot. We call him reporTee. So yeah, from this little robot come up the name of the whole application. And we decided to separate all the learning into the three parts, into the blue, green, and the yellow parts. The blue one means that it's something explanation to you. So every time when you will be able, when you see the blue in the reportee, it means that something is explained. If you will see the green, because it's a positive color, it will say you what happened after you something done. So it will be also explaining, but what happened. So by blue and green, we thought that we will be able to cover the issue that come up from the managers, where they clicked on something inside the report and don't know what happened. The green easily could says it to them, but we add the yellow part also, because we want some diversification for a closed part already. So if something is yellow, it means it's already done. So it was just the beginning. Once we come up with this easy concept, we was thinking, how to track progress of a user, because I think I would need, if I would be learning something like this, the progression bar. I really want to know what already I finished. And in that moment, we had there three different options. The PowerApp visual that can be inside any report. The Power Automate that can be also. If on the end we're using the SQL Server, I think the easiest from these two would be to use Power Automate to call the SQL stored procedure and just write down the result. Or we can develop our own custom visual. Many companies don't like custom visuals, so because of that, we went to Power Automate and we went to try it. So we grabbed the Power Automate, drop it into the architecture, and we said that after every part inside the report, you will be able to click on button that will write your answers into the server. And if you will come back to the homepage, you will be able to see your progress. So we bring the write back function into the Power BI. It was working. It wasn't perfect, but it was working. If I will switch to a second page, the third page, you can see here the Power Automate, the bottom. behind this Power Automate, there is one call SQL procedure. Very easy Power Automate function. So we prepared the button, opened the format pane, and look what's inside. Hey, button text. Wait, we can't dynamically change the text inside this button? If we can't do it multilingual. So we completely delete the text from a button and dropped here the emoji, the floppy disk, because everyone knows that floppy disk can be used as a save. Do you know that Power Automate button has one more issue? If you click on a text inside the button, nothing will happen.
Interesting.
The text is unclickable.
That's a bug, not a feature.
But this bug is here for 6 or 7 months now. So let's say from the beginning, the bug is here, and no one ever done anything with it. And from the users who've been testing it, we heard that their progress didn't count, that they don't know why. So we've been testing around and find this bug. So we come back to the thinking, can we do it different? Maybe by normal button? By a normal button, we can change dynamically the text that it's inside. And luckily, normal button is completely manageable. You can change inside absolutely everything. And if I remember correctly, one of Raid's previous historical video, you know more than most of us here what can be done with buttons, like grabbing a text to the left side with emojis, etc.
They're very configurable, which is nice.
Absolutely, I love buttons so much, but also they have one little issue. You can't use the filter pane on them.
Yes, there are no visual level filters for a button. So the only way to apply any logic into the button has to be done in the measure that gets put somewhere into the button. So that usually ends up with a lot of like duplicate measures with special filters. That is the one downside. If you use it as a card, unfortunately.
Because of this, reporTee in this moment contains about 1,370 different measures.
Does that include, I'm assuming was there ever a point where you considered using calculation groups, or is it even with that it wouldn't have reduced your number of measures? Okay.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Unfortunately,
took a while to write.
At the end, not, because thanks to tabular editor and C# script, we were very easily we generated these measures very quickly and very easily. But we tried how to call some endpoint from the button. Every time you can do it. Sorry, this is just a test file. You can do it in many ways. One that can be provided is by the query, HTML query that you would add inside the call. Even for Power Automate, you can add your own query. If I would comment here the reporTee URL and uncomment the URL for Power Automate, I can call the HTML endpoint. But there's one issue. Because I clicked on a button and it opens me a new page, and the page is white, it took me out from the report. So this would be breaking consideration of a user. So it's not feasible. It definitely isn't. Even if I would look here inside, into Power Automate, it was called 35 seconds before, I've been able to receive my name by the query. But still, I took user out from the application. It cannot be. So we come back to the Power Automate for a short period of time, but we come back. In this faster variation of architecture, you can see the logic app. Wait, the logic app doesn't have the native visual inside the Power BI. No, they don't. But I will get to the point very, very quickly. Next to the classic report of a reportee with all the sections that can teach you something, we prepared something for L&D. It was another report that was taking data, written by the users into the SQL, and returning to L&D who already finished the learning process. If someone finished something that has been updated, etc. So it covers basic needs of L&D. But I will shortly stay with the traps and lures that comes to us. One of the biggest trap of whole reporting were images. I'm not kidding. Images, or by the images, it took us about 2 months to find out how to provide some functionality that we wanted inside the reporting. Because, do you remember when I was showing the demo part? I will just drop here back to P1, and you can see the reporting with a background. This isn't the, if I would go into the insert, this isn't image as it is. It's button. Why it's button? Because button can contain SVGs inside. Normal image to your report doesn't allow to use the SVGs.
Yep.
So we've tried to drop the SVG file into the fill of reporting, but still you will have the background that is natively selected inside the button. If I would have a still background, it would be okay, because then I can do anything with it around. I can set up the same colors. But what if I in the background will have something different, like image? Then I'm completely screwed.
Yeah, yes. If you want the transparency, yes.
Yes. And even if I drop the transparency, it will drop transparency also on an SVG. So, not a good one. So I will stop using fill, and let's try the icon. Browse, same SVG, and now it's working.
There you go. Excellent.
So, little different between icon and background. And if you remember the Power BI version from August last year, when icons appear inside the Power BI. Because icons wasn't there before on the buttons. The fill with transparency was working for 1 month. In that month, we prepared every single image in reporTee inside the fill. Next month, when update comes up, we saw every single image in a report like this. So 1 more week of transferring from fill to icon. And another month, we lost the function custom inside the icons for 2 weeks. So for these 2 weeks, reporTee was completed without the images. As I mentioned, images wasn't our friends at all. Because of these 2 weeks, or additional 2 weeks, we was looking for another way how to do it. Let's say that I have here classic table visual. If I would look inside the type column, it's containing the icon.
Mm-hmm.
The icon generates additional formatting. Have you ever tried to add new icon into the classic icons?
Yep. I actually have a video that I released a couple of years ago on that where you have to edit the JSON file and put some SVGs in there, but you
Yes.
can upload your own custom icon sets.
Yeah, you can't use your own icon sets, but as exactly as you said, because we find it your video. Because of that, I know that you know how to do it.
Exactly.
And because of that, we were able to just upload our own icons. Now, no new icons here, so view Bruce JSON custom icons. Yeah, new icon. And yeah, we have here the new icons. So we try to use these, but one more obstacle: you can't size the icons at all. If you want to use images inside a table, you can take them here by encoding them. So we dropped the SVGs into the database in their text version, just to be able to be switching them, because we needed most of our images in different variation, in a blue one, green one, yellow one, and white one. White one is means that you even didn't start it. So that was with the images. Now we come up with the recorders. As I mentioned before, PowerAutomate have own native visual inside the Power BI.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be used for anything. It's really great. I really like using it, but it's slow. It's slow because of the latency that PowerAutomate has behind. And also, as I mentioned before, it doesn't have language support. So it is changing its text, but not as we want on a click. So we tried to move into the logic apps because they were faster. So we tried to come up with on visual. It wasn't our first time when we tried to develop some visual, and especially the first try of it was on write back table. So we already knew how to provide this write back functionality here. So I will switch for a moment into the reporting because we prepared a very easy button that can call literally any HTML endpoint that you want to. It has very straightforward code. You will just drop here the link that will be called, and by any measure dropped inside one field, you will grab all the calculated data and send it to the endpoint. And thanks to the settings, we can change the text. So if I will drop, if I click the finish, it will call the logic app that is behind, store my data, returns me the output that it's saved. While I was clicking, it was saying, it has been saying me it's saving. And if something would happen, it would come up with a red button that would say error, try it again. Because this was something that we would be missing in Power Automate also. You don't have all the feedback that you would need. The response time of this button is around a milliseconds, not seconds, like at Power Automate button. So it worked for us.
Awesome.
So we prepared something that we are calling final architecture. I really hope it's final, but it never is. We know. You still have there the report that it's learning the end users. You have there the report for L&D and one more report that is based on your own data that you upload inside. So users will be able to see your data, so data that they are familiar with, and on this report they can test anything, not just the part of a learning process. By this architecture, we've been able to combine everything into the one app we're calling a reporTee. reporTee that combines some specific functions from our point of view. It's unique because it's just a report and it's changing by your own data that you upload inside. It's all every time it's on a watch, it's waiting for a new update, and we're deploying new updates to a SQL database of customers on a quarterly basis. It studies every new that come up inside the Power BI to be able to provide you the brightest and the easiest understandable content just for the end users. It's sharing with you everything that it gets. The whole report can be done under the 30 minutes. Okay, if you will try to rush it, there are some points that you have to finish, and they can stop you from just clicking through it. But still, it's doable under the 30 minutes. And as I mentioned, it's communicative because it's multilingual. It doesn't matter which language do you want. If you want language that already isn't inside, it's very easy to prepare the translations, just upload them into the database and everything will work. Because of that, we prepared this homepage. This is a homepage where you can find your own progress on different topics. It's set up to, if you would go from the left to the right, you will be able to learn anything that you want to know about the dealing with reports as an end user. Which type of buttons you can find out, what type of slices, etc., etc. But I think there's in this moment it would be a great time to try it reportee on our own.
Sure.
Because as I mentioned before, we clicked on a save, so it tracked our progress on an overview topic. Is there any specific topic that you would like to see, right?
Let's see. Let's do interactions. I think that's always a fun one.
Okay, interactions. If you would open any topic, every time will appear the reportee and try to tell you something that you should know about the topic before you even start. As I mentioned, that there are colors that should be tracking and providing the most required informations about the topic or the part of a topic. So in this moment, as we mentioned, the interactions, so we have there 3 basic interactions like highlight, filtering, and ignoring. If you would go next, we have there a very simple task, just to click on a partners category in a pie chart. I know it's not a really pie chart, it's a donut chart. But okay, let's click on the partners. Oh, well done. It will translate us or transport us into the different page where we will be able to see what happens and what it means. In this moment, it's telling us what highlighting means and how you can find out that something is highlighted. Because there is combined chart, we can see here that all the information is dropped below, so it's filtered. But some didn't do anything because we want them to stay in the original way. So it's just they are just ignoring our selection. Even by that, it's saying you that you can try anything, just clicking on a point, and it will let you see how it's interacting with other parts of a report. So after that, you would be very easily you would be able to very easily find out what's inside happening. Same as here. And even with that, it's telling you that you can use some specific keys, like a control, to be able to select just the parts of a data. So
that's cool.
If I went through, it will tells me that it congratulates because we were able to finish the interactions. So okay, let's finish it. It's already saved. So back to the menu. And in a menu, we already can see that interactions has finished. In this moment, it's completed. As I mentioned, we are dealing the updates.
Yeah.
If something would be updated, the part has updated would change the color to the green, and the percentage would slightly disappear. Not all of them, but just a part to be sure that you have to finish something that's inside the category. If I would go into the reportee page, sorry, I will just switch it to the EN. It can look like this. The overview has been updated. So I know that I have to go through the overview once again and finish it. In slicers, you can see that is yellow because some categories have middle parts.
Mm-hmm.
Like for slicers, we have there the text, numeric, and date types because, as we know, the text slicers can be slightly different than numerical ones or the date ones. Date slicers has more variation how can look like than any other. So once again, if you would go through them from the left to the right, you will find every single type of a slicer that you can find out. Like in this moment, we have there the list menu and a context, and the reportee wants from us to choose the expert value. And it's just about us to select the right type of a slicer that we want to. This should bring to the end user the understanding what's capable inside the Power BI. And in that moment, they can ask their own developers to have these functions inside.
I mean, it's the art of possible, right? Which is, I think, a lot of people don't know what to ask for until they know what features are available.
Yes.
Yep.
Exactly. Even we are speaking here about the search, and yeah, and that you can select the more of them just by clicking a slicer, and or if you want to remove the slicers or how to use the select all variation and how it's dealing with other type of that, and that you have a single select, multi-select, etc. Because for someone who never worked with something like this, it can be hard to understand.
Yep.
If I would go back into the slicers after I finish the text, you can see the text button is now black one. And if I would go to the menu, the slicers are yellow, as I mentioned before.
Yeah, okay.
I was still been speaking just about in English here inside the reportee, but on a click, I can retranslate the whole report, the whole solution into the Czech in this moment. So because it wouldn't be understandable for, I would say, anyone else, I would turn it back to the English.
I'd say that one alone is an impressive feature. Not many apps that I see like that are dynamically, especially inside of a Power BI report, multilingual. So because all of this is just a series of, I mean, I'm assuming it's background objects, layering, setting the order, like so. I know like how much of a house of cards it is to build something like this in Power BI, and to also make sure that there's not a single pixel that can accidentally be clicked or that pops in front of something else. It's really hard to build all that. Thankfully, you have the maintain layer order, which if that didn't exist, this would be impossible to make. You could not make this without that one feature. But it takes a lot of love and care, and I still have to publish my report, and I drag my mouse over every I basically do a pass through. I sit there and sweep my report page to make sure that I didn't accidentally miss an area where it turns to the finger click and it's something I can click and pop in front of. So very impressive that you got all this built out inside of a Power BI report rather than say like a web app, which then wouldn't give you the direct interactions. You could have screenshots, but you wouldn't have all the actual slicers to click and interactions to do. So I like that this is the tutorial for Power BI is built directly into Power BI.
And
a lot of bookmarks. A lot of bookmarks.
On the bookmarks.
Oh, yeah.
There are many bookmarks and many hidden pages for us to be able to break some functionality that would be normally inside the Power BI, especially in an interaction. When I clicked on the partners and then clicked the button, normally the interaction would be broken in that moment. So it's done like moving to another bookmark to a different page, where exactly as you said, is one layer before it all that cannot be clicked to don't break the interaction of filtering, slicing, or highlighting, etc. And also here inside the menu, there are some very easy buttons that can be used. Discuss can be set up to any internal page, or for us, we have it connect to Microsoft Community, Power BI Community, because Power BI Community is the best. Learn more. It should be connected to the local page where you can find more information about Power BI inside your organization. If not, then you can transfer it anywhere. Help the same. Mostly, what we saw at the first customers that tried this, the help is connected to a specific team where they have their own center of excellence that should be able to answer the questions.
Now, I'm assuming because part of adoption rollout is also to ensure that the team has completed this. So, can you? I'm assuming this data can be pulled out somewhere. Yeah, there you go. A report where, like, from a manager's perspective, you can see that 10 out of 20 people, okay, good, have progressed, and you can go chase down like, hey, you were supposed to do this last week, and you haven't finished your you haven't finished your training yet. Okay,
Exactly.
this is very important. Yeah.
Because of that, there's L&D report, where you can easily find out how many users already finished the reporting. If there was someone new in this month, or if someone finished it this month, or even just start. No one start because it's not tracking this user, because the user was created today, and this report is refreshing every day. So tomorrow there would be this user. You can find their new users, completed, finished, etc., and even the topics that are mostly done. Because not for every company or not for everyone would date filters, date slicers would be interesting. But someone would prefer using numeric slicers, or they never heard about the buttons and how to deal with them inside the Power BI. So these topics can help the local developers to bring the functions that people are learning the most into their reports if this function already isn't inside.
That's great, yeah.
Or if the users don't learning about, let's say, a sorting, then you can ask them why. You know how to sort? You know how it can help you? Yeah, we are doing it all the time. Okay, then this category is not for you. But on the other hand, it can says they can say to you, we're not using sorting because we don't know how, and we forgot that it's inside the report. So you can send them back inside to be able to find what's really in this function. Also, here's a log. Log that is just saying if the current version is the actual version, what languages has been added inside. I'm completely honest with you. This log is in this moment is fake because finishing here on a 100 that you've been able to see inside the menu itself. It in the log inside the L&D report is in this moment just prepared how we want it to look like. And also here's the practice report, where are all the functions that you can find out inside the reportee itself, and you can try it on your own with your own data that were just upload inside.
I really like the admin controls of this for sure, because I think that's really useful to help ensure adoption and everything else as people are going through the course content, essentially.
Nice. Oh, okay. That was a reportee from my perspective. So I would say thank you for the attention.
I think this has been great, and let me pop back over to us. Here we are. Yeah, so I love the integration directly into Power BI. I think the one thing that I don't believe has been brought up, but so what's offerings essentially? Like if people want to use this, like individually for a team, is there any portions of it that's available to test out? Is it like what is there any subscriptions for it, etc.?
In this moment, we're providing like the solution for whole tenant. So there is a little price for the installing everything and preparing, and then it just depends on the customer who
Okay.
he will let inside, but it's not about a number of users.
Yep, gotcha. Okay. So it's really the configuration, getting everything set up, getting the endpoints, uh
Yes,
the write back and all the other stuff to allow for the tracking and progress. Okay, and at that point, then it sounds like that it's almost like a fixed cost, and then it's just infinitely scalable at that point for the tenant of 10 users or 500.
exactly.
Okay, that's really useful then. Okay, cool. I would
And
like for the people tuning in, like check out the link below to this. But yeah, like I've seen a lot of other like Power BI general trainings like that teach it from more of a recorded lesson curriculum, and you get a PBIX file and all that other stuff. But like overall, how long would you say it would take to go through this? I'd guess you could easily do it in a day, if not even like half a day.
as I mentioned, whole reporting can be done in a 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Okay, perfect. Yep. Then I think that's very manageable. Like, I mean, that's slowly sipping a cup of coffee over half an hour, and then you basically, from an end user perspective, you've gotten all of the features available. And I think, as you mentioned, one thing that is nice with this is once they know the art of possible of everything available. Oh, Drillthrough is really cool, and we actually have a report in marketing where like these two pages could really benefit from being connected in that way, where I can go from this page to that using the Drillthrough functionality. So I do think that also can help the reports evolve and grow when they use this, and ideally lead to a lot less questions to IT and to the report authors who are like, how do I do this and this and this in their report? Like, I have a document, like I don't want to read a document. Let me just go click and play with some stuff. So it's a nice like guardrails. It's an on rails experience that really specifically navigates you through to ensure that they've explored every feature.
Yeah, but from the first customer that tried from their IT, you heard that they slightly start hate us because users, exactly as you mentioned, the drill through.
Yeah,
The users come, hey, we want this and this and this. Hey, oh no, we have to develop it.
exactly.
and
So yeah.
especially, and especially the drill through uh, is not as much used, what I see, as it should be.
Agreed.
And especially in this moment when we have different ways how to get inside a drill through. We can do it by button, by a tooltip. There are
Mm-hmm.
very easy ways how to get inside, and it can help find the real potential that is stored inside the data for a user very easily.
I'm just also popping a comment into the group chat. If there's any general questions, so far people have been appreciative of it, but I think overall, yeah, if anybody has a specific question on any of the features or limitations or kind of use cases for this, feel free to ask those. But like I said, I will definitely be interested in recommending this, certainly to even like I'd say enterprise clients where they have to, because if there's 5 people on a team, you can hop on a call and just quickly say, here's how to use Power BI, done. But especially when there's hundreds, if not thousands of users, it's not feasible to do that. And there's only a degree of like, if you give them a recorded video, which you can also do, the chances that people are going to actually watch that completely, or like they might have it on and they're reading a blog post or they're doing something else. Like they're not necessarily paying attention. So I do think that this has a greater likelihood of like, did you actually complete a task? Like it tracks that better. Like you can't get to the end with a lot of these things unless you actually do said interactions and exploration. So I like that methodology for this. As far as the, it's some of the better user trainings that I've seen that really will ensure that if a user gets to 100%, they might forget it later, but at least the day that they did it, they really did actually have to go through every single module and everything to truly interact with the stuff.
Thank you for these words. And they can anytime get back once again. Just find one thing that they forgot, but they already went through, so they know that it was there. So just quickly run through the topic and you know it once again. The reporTee is mostly focused on companies with a premium because in that case, as you mentioned, there's potential that you have larger scale of end users. So in that case, it would be for them much more easier to adapt to Power BI because also, as you mentioned, if it would be just for a team where are just 5 people, it would be much more easier just to call with them and say it to them.
Exactly, 100% agreed. But yeah, again, thank you so much for coming on today for this, especially last minute. I'm glad to now know another tool that exists outside of the Power BI universe that can help people with these kind of things, and I'll definitely be recommending this to a few clients if they're like, what's a really quick and easy way to drive adoption for 500 users? You could get this installed and configured and then just track the progress as it goes through.
Thank you so much. And especially thank you so much for opportunity to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then everyone is tuning on. There's still about 20 people tuning in at the moment. Thanks everyone for being on today. I think for this we had a peak of about 33. So especially for last minute talk scheduling, that's a good healthy number. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. Štěpán, thanks for coming on today, and have a great weekend. And we'll chat after this. And to the audience, thank you, and see you all next week on my next live stream.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice weekend. Thank you, Ray.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for watching. Please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. And if you want to help support this channel, take a look at our channel memberships as well. And last but not least, please consider sharing this video on social media to help pass on this awesome content and to help the channel grow. So until next time.